Freddie Lloyd, laser focused on pole, wants to take another victory here in this championship. Hasn't been on the top step of the podium since round 4 at Glannygore. Here we go then, 15 minutes plus 1 lap. Senior X30 is go here at Kimbolton. Even start down to the first corner. It will be advantage Lloyd on the inside through the willows. Good start for Lewis Bird as well. There is held second place. Zach Green all over the back of the rear bumper of the number 5 as they head towards Derek's corner for the first time. There is the view on board from Zach Green through this first lap, Nicole. Good start for Freddie Lloyd. That's exactly what he needed to do.
Completely different start then from our field with that race start. Previously we saw Lloyd, Green and Lawrence get caught out, but within this one, everybody looking quite settled for the time being. Lloyd out there in the front has given himself an early breath of fresh air by just under 0.4 of a second, but don't count out Lewis Bird, because he is right there. It's down at turn number 1. That's Harrison Whitcomb going wheel to wheel with Morgan Moore. Morgan Moore then losing 2 positions because Tristan Powell looks like he has got ahead as well. And now Lloyd is being caught up as they head through this second lap. The Premium versus the Mad Croc versus the driver in the Jamie Green kart, who's now chasing around your current number 1, tailing around, sorry, your current number 1. Gus Lawrence then, this weekend, not quite had the luck, as down the inside looks Lewis Bird. Has he pulled it off on your championship leader? No, not just yet. That was wheel to wheel, as you like, on the exit, and that brings the likes of Green, Lawrence and Still ever closer. Harrison Whitcomb has now arrived, so has Tristan Powell, so has Morgan Moore, your driver that was disqualified at PFI, who's here this weekend fighting for some points. This is going to turn into a massive train here, Andrew.
Yeah, Morgan Moore, who suffered that DQ because of taking the tyres out of Parc Ferme. Very, very easy to do, but the rules are the rules. In terms of on the racetrack, Moore hasn't lost any of his speed. As there, down the inside, Zach Green goes for second place. Top 5 last week in the FIA Karting Championships in the wet conditions of Rugby. Here in the British summertime, Zach Green is on the charge once again. Aaron Brown is currently the fastest driver out on circuit. It's Powell and Still go wheel to wheel on the approach to the Willows. And I can tell you outside of our commentary box window, Powell did not come off best in that battle, has lost a number of positions as a result. Big lap now for Freddie Lloyd, in my opinion, Nicole. Green's made the move, taken the initiative, taken second place. Lloyd's got an opportunity now to break off the front of the field. He needs a quick lap.
This is a momentum circuit here then, Andrew, and the driver with the most momentum for the time being is Fred Lloyd, because he is faster than the 4 drivers behind him. So is this the stage where he starts to try and pull away? Has spread out now between the drivers in the top 5. Is further back in the field. That's William Antrobus getting all involved on towards the entrance of Willows. He trades places with Jack Nettleship, who looked like he got it wrong on the entrance. Morgan Moore finds himself maybe being shuffled down the order now, because Jack Buckley and Stilp are right there. Stilp this weekend, to me then, Andrew, just looks like he's sliding around on the track slightly. Doesn't quite look as dialed in as we typically see the 2-time IWF champion, as that's a move now on Morgan Moore round the final corner. That's Jack Buckley promoting himself into P6 for Mick Barrett. Lawrence turns up the temperature dial in this front pack. P3 currently behind the Jamie Green racing driver, and is your fastest driver on the circuit, as Piers Pryor has seen something down there in the paddock.
I think this is turning into exactly the race that Gus Lawrence wanted. Not too much defending so far. Lewis Bird maybe realising doesn't quite have the pace of Green and Lawrence. Now it's whether Zach Green and Gus Lawrence can chase down our race leader.
Yeah, well, pace-wise, actually, it does look like Bird is about 0.2 off of your top 3 currently, so might start to tail off this front end as it gets aggressive now between Bennett and Moore. Moore starting to lose some positions here within this final race. Goes defensive on the entrance to turn number 1 from William Antrobus. Antrobus now tries to return it. That makes him vulnerable to Powell. Not just Powell, because it looks like Nettleship is going to get ahead from Antrobus as well, and that just shows then, Andrew, how quickly things can actually happen around such a track that is so fast and so flowing.
Yeah, absolutely. And with X30 Senior, you can't breathe. You cannot make one mistake out there because the Wolves will pounce. Oh, Sam Lewis out a little bit wide there out of Dan Weldon corner. Plus 5 second penalty, first one of the race, and it's gone to Gabriel Stilp. So his chances of being on the podium here today are pretty much gone. Harrison Whitcomb, big race this for Harrison Whitcomb in my opinion, Nicole. He had that great weekend at Warden Law to start off the season. Swept up everything, got maximum points, looked really good. Hasn't really been able to hit that same stride since then. He's still very much part of the title fight. He's on 825 points on the live scores, 15 points behind Lawrence, another 10 up there to Lloyd. But he needs a big result in this one. He doesn't want to be fighting. He's going to be fighting from behind. He's going to have a deficit to Lloyd, to Lawrence when we get to Wilton Mill. But reducing that deficit is absolutely critical in this race if Harrison Whitcomb, in his first year in Senior X30, is going to become British champion.
You know, early stages of this championship at Warden Law, he was really, really strong, was on the podium. Then maybe he's just had some bad luck. Things started to fall to bits a little bit for Whitcomb. Had some bad luck yesterday at DNF, some damage to the karts. But it's not throwing him off his tracks, because he's trying to fight position now, and like you said, in that virtual championship, he's still well within that top 3 for now. But the top 3 on your tarmac for the time being: Lloyd, Green, Lawrence. Lawrence still sat there on the tail of Zach Green, still the fastest driver on the track. Drops a bit of pace and time in sector number 3 on that previous lap compared to Green. He's still right there, but hasn't bit the bullet just yet, as Tristan Powell now promotes himself ahead of Gabe Stilp. Textbook move there into turn number 1. As the field looks like within this stage of the halfway kind of point in the race, Andrew, people are starting to find their rhythm, spread out for the time being, but expect each other, you know, expect these drivers to start to back each other up and start bumping into each other, you know, just because we get to this point in the race where it becomes a bit of a lull, becomes a bit of a 2 versus 2 or 1 versus 1, you're going to see a train very shortly form.
Well, 7 days ago, it was Freddie Lloyd versus a Green, Fred Green. Fred Green went on to take the GP plate, of course, after the 5 second penalty for Freddie Lloyd after he took the checkered flag first on the road. This week, it's another Green, Zach Green, trying to close in now on the race leader. There's Aaron Brown and Morgan Moore. That's Brown ahead of Moore now for 11th place. Yeah, Morgan Moore having a difficult race here, starting to go backwards, but back at the front, Green put in a purple lap time last time around. He's closed that gap to Freddie Lloyd to less than 0.2 of a second, and he's bringing Gus Lawrence with him on board now with Zach Green down into Stowe Corner, getting closer and closer all the time. But I think there's going to be a little bit of caution, isn't there, Nicole? He's not going to go throwing it in straight away and risking everything with 7 minutes to go, especially with Gus Lawrence not too far behind.
No, he's not, but equally so, you know, Green's got nothing to lose within this. It's a bit of a win or bin weekend where he's not in that virtual championship fight because of his campaign in Europe in FIA, and that being the focus for Zach this year. He's not within this one vying for a championship, so maybe expect him to do a bit of a high risk, high reward move on Lloyd. Catches up through that final sector and on the tail as we head through turn number 1. This is bunching up now between your top 3, but no change, of course, within these points because we've got no change within this race. Lloyd, 850 to his name. Lawrence, 840. Whitcomb still on that 825. So really, there's nothing in it. And let's not forget as well, our final round is a double header for our drivers.
Double header, you know, and the difference of 3 points between first and second. So a driver who goes out and wins everything at Wilton Mill could very well take the title. You're watching live coverage of the Wera Tools Motorsport UK British Kart Championships, Event 7. The final for X30 Senior, penultimate race of the day. Don't go anywhere after this because the title decider for KZ2 follows up after this. And we had a quick sight of drivers inside the top 10 going down in towards turn 1. CJ Bennett's having another good run, but 5 second penalty, if we've not mentioned already, for the driver of the 335. So at the moment, that would drop CJ Bennett down from 6th place, down all the way to around 16th. So that's not gone well at all for the Irishman. Back with the race leaders. bit of status quo at the moment for these top three, Nicole. No one's made their move yet, and with good reason. The temperature's continuing to rise. It's now 25 degrees Celsius in the shade. Far warmer out there on circuit. It's a big, open, old airfield form of a circuit here at Kimbolton, one of the old ladies of British karting. They've raced here since the late 1950s. Is there a change here for the race lead? Yes, there is. Zach Green has made his move. Zach Green to P1.
Zach Green then leads the way. Head goes over the shoulder to see what the gap is to him and Lloyd. Didn't throw him off the tracks at all, really, because Lloyd still is absolutely on the back bumper of the 5-3. Of the 5-3-5-3. Oh, can't read there, Andrew. But the pace between those two drivers on that previous lap, there was absolutely nothing in. They were actually split up on the timing screen by 100th of a second. So it was good stuff there by Zach Green to have some bravery on four wheels, which we're going to see now of how he got into that race lead. So we'll watch him go well set up there. You know, just saw that the door was open and went in, and that's a position in the track as well that drivers can't really go back in on each other immediately. They've got to kind of wait until maybe the last corner to try and get them back.
And you made the point earlier, Nicole, about Zach Green. You know, he wasn't at the very first weekend of the season, so he's effectively used all of his drop scores for the whole year in one go. Remember, it's best 14 scores out of 18 once we get to the end of the season. Everyone who's done the full season up to now will have 14 scores by the end of today and look to further improve on what they've done previously in the year when we get to Wilson Mill. That's not the case for Zach Green. He's out there to win races. He's out there to win trophies. The two behind him, though, Lloyd versus Lawrence, this is for the championship. This is for that #1 plate in 2026. And right now, Freddie Lloyd knows if Gus Lawrence finishes behind him, in as simple matters as that, he will extend his championship lead this evening, heading towards the season finale. Zach Green, might, if he races at Wilton Mill, might still break up into the top 10, but he's not really going to be a factor in the championship. As out of the race, sadly, is Sam Lewis. Tough weekend for Sam Lewis, but progress has been made in his switch across to premium karting. 3 minutes to go. Green's lead, quarter of a second ahead of Freddie Lloyd. Gus Lawrence is still there, though, just waiting for his moment. We saw that amazing finish to the race at PF International for round number 6, and it was the old school Gus Lawrence coming through the field. He's raced in this category for a long time. The last time this category raced here in a British Champs event was 4 years ago. Gus Lawrence was on the grid for that one. He got a top 10 that day. He, of course, has gone on to be a 3-time British champion in Senior X30. If he wants to be a 4-time champion, Nicole, he's got to beat that man ahead of him, Fast Freddie Lloyd.
Absolutely does. Last year then, when we were out at Three Sisters, it was Lloyd versus Lawrence for this championship, but Lawrence confirmed his position as the king of Senior X30, and it's that story again this year. It's Lloyd versus Lawrence. Don't count out Whitacombe, but to me, I think they're going to be the two that are going to be fighting out for that championship. For the time being, though, they're fighting out for P2 because Lloyd has not tried to go in on Zach Green for the time being. At PFI, it was Mackie versus Lawrence versus Lloyd in the fight on the track. Now we've got a new name in there of Zach Green with a 2/10 gap out there in the front. Here we go then. Still no change between them. Is Lloyd trying to bide his time pace-wise? He's actually faster than Zach on the board. It's a 40.81 to the premium. It was a 40.88 to the Jamie Green. So actually he's got it in him to try and get past. So he's going to deploy that through the final corner, down the inside, hotspot move, gets it done, makes himself your race leader once more this weekend.
Watch out for Gus Lawrence, though. He's got to make the move now on Zach Green. He's got to get that JGR machine out of his way. Lloyd backs it up out of Stowe Corner. 1 minute to go on the clock here at Kimbolton. Changes further down the order. Buckley up to 6th. Brown has followed. Lewis Bird sadly fading a little bit in this final. Have done a brilliant job to start this race from the front row of the grid, but is now down to P8. Tristan Powell, Reece Newburn, they've both got past Dylan Patel. So 12th and 13th respectively for those two now. 40 seconds remaining on the clock into Kimbolton Corner. No move yet from either Zach Green or Gus Lawrence. Zach Green is a championship point scorer, remember, so whilst we're not talking about him in terms of the championship battle, he can still take a few points here and there off either of these two championship contenders. 2 laps to go, maybe 3. We'll see what the time is like when the next round to start finish, Nicole. But this again is going to be another grandstand finish in Senior X30.
And this is a stage in the race then that Lloyd is going to absolutely hold that white line. That defensive posture has been deployed. We'll try and back up Green maybe, but he's going to try and just hold on to this race win. He's doing just that out of the final corner. Whitcomb is starting to arrive onto the back of Gus Lawrence now, because that defensive driving, of course, is going to drop the pace. As round the outside, that outside line, Zach Green is going to try and go to get the run on the entrance to Willows, but Lloyd holds onto it once more, and it doesn't open things up enough for Lawrence. Drivers then checking over their shoulders to see what those gaps are to the back, and Lawrence did just that because now he's aware he's got a new problem. It's not just the driver ahead of him that he's got to think about. He's now got somebody behind. The Whitcomb, the Argenti back driver is right there, and he's another name that's in your top 3 in your virtual championship. Lloyd still holding on to it nicely, gets it wrong and loses the race lead. Is he going to get it back on the entrance to turn number 1? Checker flag is out, checker flag is waving, and it's Freddie Lloyd. Freddie Lloyd takes the final win by 100th of a second.
What a finish here in Senior X30. Freddie Lloyd on our screens. I'd love to see a slow-mo replay of that, because that looked really, really tight on the line. That might be less than 0.0 of 1 of a second.